Oh man, hey there everyone, this is Cal. We're doing the Patreon thing again this week. We're back to having a million, billion, trillion, quadrillion, super huge amount of questions, so what's this tool for? I don't know. so yeah, good times are being had out. I don't know. Hey there everyone, this is Cal. I'm pressing buttons here. It's pretty great. No buttons, they're pretty nice. They go ka-flu. What's even that? I don't know. What am I doing? Hey there, this is Cal. What? Words? Those don't exist. Stop making lies. Sapphire Crook asks, Cal, if I could steal your beans and put them into a saving investment account, would it be worth avoiding the giants in the cloud? If we're talking strictly about beans, no, because I only own, bean cans. Like, like the beans you find in cans. I don't know, is it worth it? I figured it need to be, like, at the very least, fresh beans to be worth anything. The point is, I don't think it's worth, like, confronting a giant over, personally. But, of course, opinions may differ, naturally. Pizza Pony has a billion things, such as 1. Are you at all a fan of SpongeBob, or were you too old when it came out? Seems like though there's not a fandom for it. Majority of the internet, myself included, show love for it through reaction images and memes. I don't have anything against it. Like, it started just on the very edge of when it would be like when I would on the edge of finding cartoons too stupid to watch. Early SpongeBob I can appreciate for having some really weird and absurd ideas and, bringing absurd humor to the forefront and whatnot. I just don't think it aged very well. And does compound by the fact that the, newer seasons are fairly bad and they're kind of like in this weird, let's call it Family Guy style of let's see what we can do until we get our own show cancelled type of situation. 2, I'm sure you've heard the news of gay marriage legalization in the US. How is Canada doing with that? I'm pretty sure it is legal. I don't know if it's every provinces. I know it is in Quebec, so that's good. And any thoughts, if any, I think that's good. I'm one of those people who, while growing up, never knew or was really aware that apparently homosexuality was a bad thing. Like, I'm not sure how that happens exactly, because that seems to be sort of like, a thing that pops up for a lot of people, but to me it was just like, yeah, that's a thing I get. Like, I don't even recall having any people in my school that were gay, but I was probably just not aware of it, as that is how it tends to work, right? Especially back in the days, we're talking about before the 2000s. The world was kind of a scarier, different-tier place. I will be the first to admit it. But I'm not sure where I'm going with that. But yeah, other than, no, I don't really have any thought other than good, finally. Jesus Christ. Welcome to the modern age. Can you explain the difference between French Canada and France? Sure. Think of the difference between, America and England. Like, really? If you mean culturally, the fact is Canada is way closer to British than both France and America, like the U.S. for what it's worth. It's kind of interesting in a way. Otherwise, I don't know, that is a hilariously broad and unanswerable... What are you doing, cursor? Jesus. Video games, they exist, by the way. 4, do you think there's a realistic amount of money that someone could donate to you to LP a game of their choice on as it's in reason and fits the current schedule? I would suppose depends on length of LP and figured somewhere around the rate of 1.50 USD per minute would keep the cost high so there wouldn't be a flood of requests, e.g. a 100% playthrough. Super Mario World takes 3 hours or 12-15 minutes video and counting death. This would cost $270 plus. Of course, there's other factors involved. How does that framework sound? In other words, you're asking if being a patron is not enough and you want, I were to actively sell a Let's Play sort of slot? Like, is that a thing that some high-end people do? Like, I have seen, like, people do weirdly out-of-place videos, and they basically claim that the game was given to them or something by the company, but, like, I don't know, it's not something I've ever thought of, and not really something I want to think of, you could say. That's going way too far into the realm of being uncomfortable. Like, if the game is good enough, I should be wanting to play it anyways without having you to have to completely and utterly sell me on the idea. Like, that just seems weird. With that said, well, no, little tidbit. In the past, I have been asked by companies to, you know, like, I think, like, it has to be happening, because, okay, like, once upon a time, received a PM on YouTube about a Russian company that does an MMO, and they wanted me to do, like, 2 or 3 videos on it in a Let's Play fashion, and they basically, you know, ended the letter asking what were my regular rates. So I have to assume that it is something that happens, but it's something I really don't want anything to do with at all forever, because that is opening one big ball of discomfort. No, I can't even speak English good. I'm so uncomfortable. It's crazy. Nickel Fire. Clarification request. I've seen Excel Saga and liked it. I couldn't make out the name of what usurped it for your thoughts. SZS is how I call it, because that's how you reduce it. Sayonara Setsubu Sensei. I mentioned it in the past, and I showed image, and it just so happens that the art I need to make today is related due to the random chance of past requests that I'm still spinning, and still includes requests from like day 1, because that's how random chance works. Alaska. Now the real question, if you had the means and resources to build a secret lair for yourself, what would it be like, and where would it be located? Don't get too specific with the last one, though it's supposed to be a secret after all. What? What'd it be like? I don't know, man. It's the secret lair. Well, it needs to at least have a garage for Saturnus, a giant space-time robot, I suppose. Otherwise, I would probably go for something homey, something comfortable, like something of a, like, assuming I have infinite resource, something of a lounge setting would probably be nice, you know, where you can just sit down, have some visitors, have a fireplace. Where it would be situated, though, I literally cannot answer, because, I mean, this would completely undo the purpose, and I mean, you yourself realize this in your question, but I will give a clue. It's at a place that starts with M. Alright? Alright? Alright. Okay, and then there's a request. I shall invoke my dark Patreon powers of making you do things by request. Read the following. Bunch of stuff. You do know we're all just testing you for now, right? Next time you know, we'll be sending you to robbing banks or Jesus Christ, I can't read. We'll be sending you to rob banks or assassinate undesirables. So, okay, I gotta read the following, which is in a language I do not know. I probably am mispronouncing things. Kavatuli lumisuli puro... No, yeah. Kavatuli lumisuli puro sanoi puri puri. I probably have said just there something super offensive. I don't know. Fusion Warriors all how hey Raocow for my panel de pawn request. Could you say like your usual intro? That'd be awesome. Alright, so I'm gonna read this. Hey there everyone, this is Raocow, and you're watching Radio Dead Air. That's a thing you are a very fan of, I recall, isn't it? Telemons, all I forgot was I was going to ask, Sadness. Do you know what I was going to ask? Question emoticon, which is confusing. Actually, I just so happen to know you were going to ask if it's okay to eat Chef Boyardee as a first dinner date with, you know, a potential new friend of the dating kind, to which I will answer... Yes, 4 out of 5 5. No, there's always gonna be that one person out of 5 for which it's a bad idea. But hey, that means if they do not react well to the situation, I consider that a bullet dodged. Alan Lalazal, when you purchase bananas, if at all, do you buy a full bunch or just a single fruit individually? The only instance I consume bananas is in the context of banana bread. So yeah, it's gonna be a bunch. I wasn't even aware you could buy single bananas individually, honestly. Anytime I do the groceries, like I saw the banana bunches, but I don't recall seeing like banana singles. Who would want to buy a single banana? Like a banana by the unit seems crazy. Stop being crazy! Renat Turnip is all, how does it feel knowing turnips are now investing their funds into you too? You know that they're the strongest driving force in the economy. You've said during videos in the past something along the lines that nobody knows your own content better than you. What would you think if I told you I've watched the ASMT LP from beginning to end over 50 times to the point where I know pretty much the whole LP word for word? It's not some kind of obsession, just love for the game, your playthrough, and ultimately being a good distraction during work/such. But it still sounds crazy, right? Despair? Well, actually, I'm rescinded my opinion on that since then. Okay, let's put it that way. When you start something, you will know your own content better than anyone else. But as you gain fame or infamy, people are going to dig and remember things and whatnot, and will become much more an event expert at what you're doing than what you are doing. And ultimately, they are the people you should ask if, like, you want to know, like, what is the best of such and stuff work. I've reached that point, actually, kind of a while back. Precisely for the reason, like, now people, like, probably remember stuff about some older series of mine way better than I ever could, just due to the fact that it's just a question of time. Like, I kind of have to move on. I don't really have the luxury of going back and reading stuff, but you guys can, and that's giving you the edge. So yeah, my opinion on that has changed forever. Congratulations to be, you know, participating in the completely obliteration of modern culture. You do us proud. What am I even going with that? My Kubota Haru is all, I still say that for one-off, you could play Melody's Escape while using the A2XT soundtrack. That would now become difficult due to events. Fun fact, by the way, before I'm even done with this question, there was a contributor that contributed a lot of music to A2XT that now cannot be used because he really rage quitted the community, and basically, in no uncertain terms, if I were to play any game with his music in it nowadays, he would pull a DMCA and have it pulled off the internet. So, I basically cannot play the A2XT base game as it stands, and I know the music, they're looking into getting everything replaced, but yeah, so just a little fun fact there that's not really fun, but is a fact. Also, are there any dessert candy sweet treats you've tried that you never wanted to eat again? Those sour things that come from China. I don't know if that is giving enough details. That's all I know. Like, it kind of looks like a nut or something, and like you put it in your mouth and it's super sour, and like usually I like sour things, but that's like going to a whole level of uncomfort. That's my answer. I don't have a name. I tried it because during the cultural exchange thing that happened during my college years. It was, otherwise it was good times. I got to see and decide never to eat foie gras. That's pretty cool. Enigmatic Dramatic Adexal, what is your favorite game track from a game you've never played, if any exists? Favorite game track from a game? Probably Mushroom Gorge. I've never played whatever Mario Kart is supposed to come from, and that song will never ever leave my head forever. There's probably other examples, but that one will automatically come to my head first, so it might not be the most intense, but it's certainly the most present. D. Is there a particular kind of deodorant that you like to use, or cologne or anything? If you use it, close parentheses, I would like to know so I can use it myself to smell like video games. Also, I'm sorry if I'm confusing or irritating you with how I close parentheses, except I'm not really. Oh well! And then it's just a bit confusing of brackets and parentheses, and just dude is completely losing track here. I just used the blue kind. You know, it's you swivel the bottom. I need to use the extra sensitive version though, because otherwise it makes skin irritation, and where it touches my skin become red and kind of hot to touch, which is not normal, but I do have a genetic thing where my skin is fairly sensitive. So there you go! Information no one needed to have is now available in your hands. Do what you will with this massive piece of physics that you are defiling. Carnaroo, hey Rao Rao, I've got a deluge of 3 questions for you this week. I would suggest you read and answer each one individually, as I've been doing tonight, today, this morning, this time span, instead of reading them all at once, but that's up to you. For one, I'm visiting the Quebec area next week. I'm sure you're not up for hanging out, but is there anything I should keep an eye out for or try while I'm around? Where in Quebec are you? Like, Quebec's a pretty large province. So you mean like Quebec? Like Quebec City? With the castle and the thing, like the old port? Like, I visited Quebec once, and I went to the old port area, and that was pretty fun. But I mean, if you mean that just generally as the province, then that's a bit vague. Second, I'm sure you're sick of hearing about Paper Mario, but this is a bit of a different suggestion. Super Paper Mario on the Wii is actually a normal platformer with RPG elements, rather than just an RPG. If you're going to play one either for an LP or just for fun, you might like to consider that one. That was a pretty forced question there, admittedly. To which I answer, I don't know, maybe like for an LP, that seems to be technologically not something I'd really be able to record as of now. And there's not a whole lot of time I have for games that I want to play outside of LPs, so maybe, like, I'll keep that in mind. I knew it was less of an RPG. I don't really know what to think otherwise, though, but thanks for the heads up. For third, your dedication to recording and uploading every day, day after day, is incredibly admirable. Are there ever times you wish you didn't have to, perhaps to take the day off? Of course, there may have been more instances of this before you starting LP as a career. I remember an episode of Super Pika Land Ultra where you were legitimately so fed up with a particular level you actually considered quitting Let's Play as a form or knee-jerk reaction. Do instances like that prod you to consider skipping out on a recording? Fun fact for people who have been with me for way too long, back in the Something Awful days, I technically quit twice, but usually within a week I would come back, and things would just basically continue as they were going. Sometimes it does get tiresome, but it's like it's literally 100% entirely on a game I'm playing. Like deep down, all it basically boils down to is I'm playing a video game. Sometimes it will require more or less editing. It's very infrequent that I just want to give up forever. When I was saying that in SPLU, I'm pretty sure I meant that as more as like in a hyperbole than actual desire of stopping, although even then that's not necessarily true either. I don't really remember enough what my head state was at the time. Nowadays, now that I'm doing 2 games guaranteed a day, now it does feel a bit more like work, but it's still something that I genuinely just like to do. Like, playing a game fundamentally is a fun thing to do. And as of now, you know, I've very rarely been asked to play something I just outright don't want to play. Sometimes it gets close, but like it's never been that bad. I root a day where I am in a position where I play an RPG or something, which is something I would not want to play. That's gonna get interesting. That might actually test my patience on things. And we might end up with a situation of a Rao vacation or something. I don't know. Let's hope it never gets to there, obviously. But you never know. I suppose also, obviously. Gregory Kikola, who will win in a fight? God Emperor Raukau or Goddess Empress Horikawa? It depends what kind of fight, honestly. Like, if you're talking about tic-tac-toe, I would give myself the advantage. But if we're speaking tug-of-war, like, that's more Goddess Empress Horikawa's field. So, I will need a bit more detail on what you mean there. Andrew Jones, I'll question, how many French words includes the letter K can you name in 30 seconds? This means naming them out loud. Really making me do this? Alright, let's run find ourselves a clock or something. Let's see here. Clock. We have a timer on the internet? Oh man, really? Okay. So I want 30 seconds. Wow, thank you, Google, for existing. So, French words with a K on it includes a letter K. Yeah, just that includes a letter K. Alright. Whoa, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. Okay. 1, 2, 3, I guess. Koala, kangaroo, kayak, kenya, koala, which I think I already said. There's not a lot of French words with the letter K in it. Puck, which is an Englishism, but whatever. The problem is that right now I'm in an English mindset, so I kept thinking of words that were in English. So... Okay, it's ringing. Please stop ringing. Please stop ringing, Google. I do not want you to ring, even though it was very light. So there you go, have some disappointment. Nickelfire, would you kindly name 5 of your favorite video game musics? And would you name what would you name your hypothetical children? Luckily enough, that's gonna be probably the same 5 answers. 5 favorite game music? In no particular order, songs that will always remain in my head are... That sounds weird said like that, but are... the Soundstone, like the complete Soundstone from Earthbound. The cave theme from Yoshi's Island. Gourmet Race from that started in Kirby Superstar has been remixed to hell and back. That's 3. Can I name 2 more? Some of my favorites music. The Hardman theme from Mega Man 3, and which from Guilty Gear. Bridget's theme from Guilty Gear is amazing and is my #1 spot, which of course is why it came to me kind of late there. But I think I was kind of like in a classic game mode sort of time span, speech, head, space. Porcupine, but yeah, and yeah, hypothetical children, all those words, like assuming I have that many children, all those words are completely viable name. Whoopar, what's the deal with your YouTube icon? It's something I've been wondering forever, never thought to use my Pat powers to ask about it until now. Also, is the Willy Wonka YTP YouTube poop guy you think of? Yeah, it's The Things 1. Yeah, it was The Things 1 I was talking about last week. But yeah, let me dig something in my files here. This here is the icon I use for my icon on both YouTube and Tumblr. I forgot what it is exactly. This is the full res image, by the way. As you can see, it's not a very big drawing. The tiny sketch I did in the corner of a screen. It was Amy and I were talking about something a couple of years back, and he was drawing like doing research for machines. This is a legit machine that exists, and I just basically copied exactly to see how quickly it would take to retain like basically the necessary details. But I forgot what it was. Like, it's not actually a screen, the screen part, but like a place where you put something. I don't know if like some kind of scanning machine or something, but I really forgot every and all details pertaining to this. But I figured it'd be worth showing you the details, like the full-size image. That's it. But yeah, I forgot what it is. It's a machine, and it's a little... Basically, it's like I wanted to change my icon, didn't know what, so I went through my sketch folder and just went, alright, I'll just put that. It's kind of a funky little thing. And thus, a funky little thing was used and has been immortalized in, like, Smebex games and whatnot. Nikoishi is all. I'll be fine with the Patreon stuff being public. Oh my god, your school story sounds just like mine! Though I'm still in college. I wasn't aware that so much effort went into a transcript, but honestly, considering your fan base, somebody has already done it. Questions, maybe. Somebody has probably asked this already, but do you play Splatoon? If so, what do you think of it? The next big Copy Kitty update 1.9 massively changes missions mode, generally makes the game several times cooler. Will you do another series for it? And while I'm not finishing touching up on it for this update, would you play the updated version of my level pack? It doesn't have to be an LP, but I love to get feedback. Haven't played Splatoon myself, but I recognize that it looks super neat and is really refreshing as a new IP from Nintendo. And it's kind of interesting that it's basically Nintendo decided to finally approach multiplayer internet FPS, and yet somehow Nintendo-idify it into something completely weird and never seen before. And it's honestly probably going to have a bit more of an impact than we'd suspect, but perhaps not as much as we'd want. I think that's the way of putting it. Also, I like the character design. It's super neat. Also, it created all this art on the internet, which is like this neat style that I love, that you could call it as clean dirty. Like, we're basically got all these stains and splashes and slats and like weird ultra crisp graffiti style that is super clean, but like it's a neat mix that I love. And now it's all over the place if you look at the right places, and it's super neat and super neat. Kami Kenny is a weird space in my game head space-time, black hole, supernova space, because space is big in the sound. Because, like, there's like me and like about maybe 1,000 viewers who really like Copy Kitty, but the rest doesn't really feel much for it, so I always feel kind of about devoting a lot of time to it. Maybe once Maggle X2 is over, because while Maggle X2 is going, like, we're talking about a few months here where that's gonna be 1/2 of what I'm putting on the internet. So I want the second half to offer more variety, at the very least, like stuff that more people might be able to enjoy, because it's not that I want to, oh no, I gotta have more people, gotta get that rent money in, but rather that I don't want people to feel left out. I don't want people to be all, oh man, you know, I enjoy listening to this French-Canadian raven rant about absolutely nothing while I'm eating my crusty cereals, and now I can't. And I know that just kind of sucks, like, I know how it's like, and so I'm not sure how Descendants got as long as it did. It was all running from the start of this video up to now. If you're the one writing this transcript, this was all one single sentence. Just be really creative with your punctuation. About your level pack, like, I want to say no outright. I just don't know when I can realistically say, okay, yeah, sure. You know, and it sucks to me to have to say that, but I gotta be honest here. Gotta be honest. Otherwise, this whole thing is a farce. Fariel is not a farce, but a person. I completely failed to actually vote for anything, because I was anticipating a second week that never happened. Hooray! But I am officially okay with these top 5. No need for any wiggle room there, really. The top 5 are great. Super Joy is something you wanted to play at some point anyways. IIRC. And Paper Mario and Rosenclouds are terrible choice. so that you can safely disregard. So there you go. Regarding my question from last time, have you seen Medibot's Kirby 64 LP? Doesn't seem to be available anymore, but I recall he had this gimmick where he talked very calmly and acted like he was telling a story to a group of little kids. Maybe a gimmick somewhere along those lines could help you portray a game in a certain light better. You don't usually do stuff like that, but you did always get really hyped up and destroy the world for Copy Kitty. I guess it would require a game that really gets you in the right mood, of course. Insert an emoticon of your choice here, for which I choose the squirrel. What? That was a big block. But yeah, I did see Medibot's Kirby 64 LP back in the day. Then he would go all like, whenever he touched the lollipop that gives you star power for a while. Everyone had a laugh in the thread, applauded, and then sit back politely in their chair without making too much of a ruckus. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I want to subside an entire LP with a gimmick, because that seems, I don't know, like counter... It's not honest. Like, you know, if you're pulling a gimmick, like as a one-shot job, funny joke, sure, but as a full gimmick for a full LP, I'm just not comfortable with that idea. Like when you say you gotta go out and destroy the world, like I don't fake it. It's really the feeling that fills my blood space. So what's within space today? Maybe it's because this is being recorded in the International Space Station. I forgot to say it. I don't know. It's a possibility. White Yoshi Eggs, I'll ask for an actual question because I edited out the rest of your letter before putting this in my list text file. Do you rewatch your entire footage from start to finish when editing? Yes and no. Of course, while I'll edit, you know, I kind of need to watch around to make sure I remove the stuff I'm supposed to remove and do my editing and all. And I'll do some spot check at the end to make sure that the sound says synced up. So I'll just move random spots in the video, make sure the sound's still synced everything. Nowadays, it's rare that I'll just sit down and watch the full run from start to beginning, although it will still happen if I have, for any reason, some concerns about a video, or sometimes everything just goes so well that I just kind of like get sucked right in it. I'm aware I should be watching the whole video all the time, forever, for the whole thing, but as a concern of time, it just doesn't happen as much as I would want to. Is that an answer? Lovely Penguin, if you were a penguin, well, yeah, okay. Lovely Penguin, if you were a penguin, what would your penguin name be? Also, what are your top 5 trucks? I don't mean truck models manufacturers, I mean individual trucks that you have seen driven. Well, seen/driven. Man, well, I don't know. What is the kind of names that penguins have? Can I just be a penguin that is called Raocow? I mean, I'm a human, and I use the name Raocow, although technically it's not really a name, it's an internet handle. So in that case I might understand, but I mean, in that case I was a penguin, my name would probably be like penguin noises. But I don't know what those are. That's my penguin name. There we go. I'm pretty sure that's accurate. Top 5 trucks. Number 1, I don't know. Okay, no order. There's a truck I used to learn to drive. That was my dad's truck. It was a gray Mazda truck. That's 1. The other 4 are the 4 different trucks of RC Pro-Am. Phew, that was hard to answer. YMR saying, Zal, if you had a Kiai-like battle cry, think at-a-tat-a-tat instead of for Gondor, what would it sound like? I don't know. Well, okay, like, trying to answer this realistically for some reason, because that's not a bad idea. I get the feeling, you know, like when I go ahead and charge in video games and whatnot, I really just go you know, I don't put more, you know, it's just get sound, get that pressure out of your lungs and out into the known universe. So it's just a big old scream. Like, why would you add consonants to that? You're just making it harder on yourself. Filthy pots! Imagine you're a good line adventurer whose village has been repeatedly attacked by goblins who murder and pillage everything they see. You fight your way through a goblin's lair, kill their king and all their warriors, and then at the bottom of the dungeon you find a room full of goblin babies. What do you do in that situation? Well, it depends. If I am lawful good, in that case, you know, I bring the babies with me, and you know, we put them like in a wagon or something. Gonna bring them to town, and I will let basically the lord of the manor or whatever it is that has, you know, that's the boss, decide what to do with them. If I'm chaotic good, in that case, it depends on your interpretation of chaotic good. I mean, goblins are evil, right? So I would probably set them on fire. I mean, they're bad, so as a good, but then see, there's the other interpretation of good, which is say that everything needs to be saved, in which case I would release them into the woods to grow large and or be eaten by wolves, one or the other. Zio Masada is all. You ignored my cheesequake question, you terrible, terrible person. Actually, I remember reading about it. You asking about cheesecake, and I forgot how I managed to not answer it. But to answer it quickly, cheesecake's made out of cheese, and I can't eat it anyway, so... I suddenly have this idea of you doing an Ira Gamagori cosplay. That'd be pretty great cool. Honestly, I don't dislike the idea. Are there any music videos that you ever thought were really great, awesome, for any reason? Be it plot, animation, costume, choreography, etc. Weird Al Yankovic video of parody of Tastes Like Nirvana is amazing. Like, it lives up to this day, I feel like. There's my answer there. Do you own any amiibos? No! The only amiibo I got close to being interested into existing, maybe, is the Palutena one. Up to now, I've just been feeling completely and utterly disinterested in all things amiibo. Have you watched The Room, and what was your reaction like? I have not watched The Room. I have no reaction. Besides, if I were to watch it, like my watching of it would be corrupted by what I would expect it to be, so it wouldn't be pure, anyways. Is there a story behind your bender? I'm not sure why, but it seems like one of those things that a person has a title plate has some kind of wacky story to it. If there isn't one, then make one up. So the story of my big bender head is pretty funny because it was like my mom was all like, Hey, and how Cal, you're a grown-up adult, so I don't know what to buy you for Christmas. What can I buy you? And then I said, I don't know, like, I don't own Futurama yet. Can you see if the store has Futurama series? And then once upon a time, it was Christmas Eve, and I opened up my gift, and it was a big bender head with all DVDs in it. And that was the story. Hooray. Peter... whoa, what's going on with my list here? Peter Locci has a Jesus avatar on the Talk House, and also is asking this. You mentioned a while back that you enjoy Blind Guardian. Are there any other bands of the metal genre that you like to listen to? Without going into the more obscure stuff, I recommend System of a Down is not metal. What? Glory Hammer, Iron Maiden, and Dio. Like, sure for the other ones, but System of a Down? What? I would recommend early Nightwish, when they had the original opera singer, and Trollhammer. That's about as straight an answer I can give here. Xerix! So, as a Patreon, how do we invoke our temporary mind control to make you do a thing in a video? How often can we do it? I don't know. As of now, people just basically wrote it down as a question. How often? I don't know. As of yet, we didn't have any abuse, so... Please keep it that way, kids. I'm being serious for once. Hypothetically, if Aricel were animated into a cartoon series, would you want the animation to mimic the art style of the comic but with emotion, or would you rather see liberties taken by the animator? That is a really good question. I haven't worked on the art for the video part of this video in a lot of minutes, and I apologize. And we're almost getting to the end, so sorry. That's a good question. Because I don't know, like an animation does not work the same as a comic, so I can see where things would probably need to be changed to work as a cartoon. Of course, I would like it to remain relatively faithful to my weirdo art. That I know it may not be the best, but at the very least it's different. And I know that some people like the differentness of it. I just don't know how flexible it is for animation. With that said, like, I wouldn't mind some amount of reinterpretation, by which I mean that I would like it to look like a K-On! Claude. That would be the best. Kaika is all. Does Tear's name rhyme with peer or pear? It's tear. It's the verb. The verb to tear, like tear a piece of paper. I guess you can tear up, but you can't really tear. All characters named in ATXS are verbs, except for Chef, for whom I added an E by accident, which makes it sheath. But that's my fault. Also, what's your credit card number and security code? Okay, well, just let me pull my wallet out here, and I'll get right to that. Can't seem to find it though. Gonna have to get back to you on that one, unfortunately. Where are we? Filthy Pot is there again. That is asking for some sound financial advice. Buy low, sell high. I don't know if that's sound financial advice, but I hear it all the time, and it was evoked throughout sound, you know, through noise in the air, recorded digitally. Otherwise, if I can offer something relatively, even slightly serious about money, I just, you know, once you turn into an adult, whether you want to or not, you have to. Money becomes an actual legit consideration. I always try to budget so that, you know, like, it's just basically, yeah, do a budget. Do not be afraid to do a budget. It's something you have to do. I roughly know how much income I get per month. I know exactly the minimum of what I have to spend to survive, if you consider, you know, my rent, electricity and whatnot, no groceries and all that. Split in two with my roommate, of course. And I always make sure that, you know, the numbers make sense. And I only spend if I can, at the very least, take up everything that must be, you know, my living expenses, plus, like, you know, I try to at least have a let before I'm gonna go ahead, like $100, and I can put into savings. The rest I can spend on stuff or going out or whatever. That's always pretty much how I've ran, and it's working out for me. It requires a lot of, you know, personal responsibility somewhat, but I mean, it's all something we gotta do. It's money is not crucial, but we need it, you know. It doesn't buy. You can't buy happiness, but you can't live without it either, unless you go live in the field or in the woods. But in that case, have fun. Will Hart, is there a story behind this quote? Hey now, Cal, why don't you make playlists? I hate you when the pox on your mailman. No, it's just a random thing I come up while I was writing my YouTube texts. Oh, so much disappointment in the history of things, I'm aware. Smalbobo, do you still communicate with anybody from your Something Awful days? Who is your closest friend acquaintance you've made through LPing? If I still communicate with any of them, like, I know some of y'all are still from Something Awful, and I'll see you writing in comments on around the Talkhouse and whatnot, but like actual close relationship, there's not really anyone left, except Argumentable that I chat sometimes with on like the Skype Hearthstone room for Talkhouse. That's about it, maybe. I think Alex follows me since the Something Awful days too, but I don't recall him posting on a Something Awful, although it might be under his old name, actually. But, you know, like, if you're talking about like famous people, not really. Like I was in friendly terms with Oyster for a while until he kind of disappeared from the internet. Otherwise, no. More disappointing answers. Just because that's all. Would you consider playing a versus fighting game on these videos in the same way you said you'd consider Isaac? Cough, Skull Grills, 4, whatever. You often say you like fighters, but we barely ever see you playing them. This is partly because I'm terrible at them. I love playing them. I feel I have a good sound execution and footsies, but I'm terrible at combo and executing combos. So I play a weird, kind of good but kind of bad game, and I feel kind of self-conscious about it. So there you go. Yeah, I feel self-conscious about me playing video games still. Who would have thought? Fariel is back, asking, it only just occurred to me that it would be relatively easy to make fighting game sprites for demo based on Taco Man. How awesome would that be? That would be super awesome. Please make a demo for Mugen and put it on Salty Bet. No, you don't have to. That takes way too much amount of work. Ruizu. Ruizu. First time I see a name, and you got the last question for the segment of Paddle the Patapon. So yeah, Ruizuzal, hey Raocow, I've got 2 questions for you. My first is actually about the Patreon videos. I actually watch over 90% of your videos on my mobile phone while at work. Working super hard, you know. But unfortunately, that leaves me somewhat limited in my ability to watch these videos. There's no Patreon videos I'm aware of, and I was wondering if you or anyone else had any tips of making watching these videos a bit easier, similar to the YouTube experience. You know, when you open up my Patreon page, you click on thing, and it is literally a YouTube page. It's literally a YouTube video that's just linked like through the Patreon. Like there's a link on Patreon that will open the page on YouTube. You can just watch it that way. And the other one, my second question is about the Lex Cortex series. I was wondering if anyone with video editing skills might make the time to break those episodes up into smaller pieces. Again, because I watch videos on my phone, watching really long videos over 20 minutes can be difficult as more frequent pauses and interruption, making it more difficult to sit down and watch the whole thing. If there's not much that can be done, that's okay. While I enjoy watching the Patreon videos, like some of the other Pats, they're errant why I'm subscribed. I just want to keep the Valve machine going. I don't think the Cortex videos would make much sense in terms of consuming them in smaller bits, because they are already parts of a much bigger whole. Like, I'm not sure how you could cut them smaller than they are without losing sense of progress and situational awareness. As of now, they're offered as they're being offered. Like, I wouldn't be able to really do more than what are done to them now. If anyone wants to try and cutting them further, I mean, you can always give it a shot, but I'm just not seeing how, Basically, what happens is that you have a very specific situation, and you seem to understand that we cannot possibly, maybe not necessarily be able to conform to that, and, but I'm not seeing what I would be able to do, but, you know, thanks nonetheless. Yeah, I just don't think they would be enjoyable shorter than they are, so I wouldn't know really how to do it. So, yeah. This is how we're ending this, apparently, this week. Feeling kind of weird about things here.